What do you say? Should we tell the story?
Let's do it.
Cheers. Kind of funny, I got a phone call from a family friend who drove by the property, and he was going out for dinner with his wife, and he goes, you know, sun is just setting and I just drove by a field, I think you hunt it. And I said, well, whereabouts? And he kind of explained the spot. I said, sure enough, yeah, I hunt there. He goes, well, there are 2 giant deer out there that are unmistakably large. They are just enormous, and that's Heartbreaker and Chicken Foot, right? One's about 170 inch, the other one's mid-190s. Well, I went out and threw a camera up. I started scouting from the side of the road, filming these deer in velvet and just getting real familiar with their patterns and their movements. And the deer I ended up killing this year, the Drop-tine buck, he was with him, but he was only 2 years old. He kind of ghosted me for 2 years after that. And then in 2018, he started showing up pretty regular again. You know, he had age. At this point, he's probably a 5.5-year-old deer. Fast forward to 2019, I remember sitting on the edge of the road filming these deer come out in velvet with Dave Bechtel, and there was this massive, gnarly 10-pointer with this corkscrew brow-tine, and I was obsessed. And that deer's out in the field, and all Dave kept saying is, you take that deer, I want that big 8-pointer. The Drop-tine buck used to be an 8-pointer. That season, you know, I had put so much time into hunting and filming and, you know, putting together a story that ends with a big buck. And again, the one I ended up shooting wasn't, you know, what I had imagined. So when gun season came around, I was ready to get after another big buck.
Regular rifle and shotgun season is now over, but it's the muzzleloader season. So got the bow handy. It is December 6th, and it appears that the second rut is now starting to kick into full gear.
And December 6th was exactly the day, almost a month to the day since I last shot a deer, the Drop-tine buck shows up. And that's a night that I can't forget. I put an arrow into that deer, low in the shoulder, basically top of the leg, bottom of the shoulder, and he limped away. Maybe it'll be a little bit easier to sleep at night now that I killed him.
Right.
Now 2020 comes around. Christy and I, we're in the same spot I always sit, right on the edge of the woods in the buckthorn. And we're filming these deer in velvet. I think we went 4 times this last summer, her and I together. We had some deer out in the field, and it was, you know, I was playing with my focus. I think I was trying to film like a lightning bug or something. And then she says, there's another deer coming out the field. I look and I'm like, oh yeah, he's nice, or he's really tall. And I remember so vividly her saying,
he has a drop-tine.
It has a drop-tine. It has a drop-tine. Like, what are they? I've never hunted a deer with a drop-tine before. But this season I did. And I'm so glad that you were there with me to film that.
That was a remarkable night. Probably one of my most fond memories in the woods.
I think one of the most memorable parts about that night, other than the actual kill shot on that deer, was how those waves of storms just kept coming in. And it was like, put the camera gear away, take it out. You had that grocery bag on your camera.
Over the top of it.
That bag was a lifesaver for us.
It was.
We had 6 bucks, smaller bucks coming from the Imus. And they kind of held up at about 30, 35 yards, started milling around. And then that dog barked.
Yep,
Remember?
the road.
And I was like, Steve, every time that dog barks, that means deer are in the field on the other side of the road. And you said, here they come.
It wasn't but 20, 30 seconds.
They look
I
like
saw
sheep
'em-
jumping over a fence.
Saw them coming over through the buckthorn.
So you saw him first.
Yeah, I'll never forget seeing that deer walk around that crest that corner of that woods.
At this point, we have no idea it's the drop-tine buck. No idea.
But you were telling me that there was a big 7 out there.
There is a big 7,
A
yeah.
big 7, and then you had the drop-tine buck.
Which
So
I never referred to the drop-tine as the big 7 because he wasn't he did have 7 points before the 2 drops.
Right.
But there was an actual like mainframe 7, 3.5-year-old that was really beautiful. For a 3.5-year-old, he had a really big frame on him. But that's you said he looks like a 7.
Yeah.
Looking through your camera,
Yeah.
I remember. And me thinking, well, I'm shooting him if he comes by. I didn't think I would. I thought I was gonna hold out for the drop time, but you know, when I remember seeing that body, he looked like a pig with sticks.
That's probably my most memorable aspect of that hunt. When he came around that, he looked like a freaking steer walking around out in the field.
The shot wasn't perfect. The deer died in 15 seconds.
One of the fastest deaths I've seen from a deer.
My proudest moments happen on film together, and I really truly couldn't imagine it happening with a better person.
Appreciate it.
You nailed it. And to be able to call our buddies and call Dave and tell him, and he just got home from shooting a big black bear with that white V on his chest. He's already fired up, and now we're about to go over and tell him we just shot the drop-tine buck. Dude.
Kept thinking it was still the big 7
That's right.
until we got back to the truck.
And
we
I
started
remember the
talking
body,
about it.
and that was no 3.5-year-old.
Right.
The body was so big, and that's right. And I said,
When you said
Steve, pull out your camera. I need to look at that footage. Are we sure that's the big 7? You're like, well, I'm pretty sure he had 7 points.
I knew he had 7, but I
was
never
7.
saw that drop time because when he had his drop time was on his right, so when he was walking towards me,
Yeah.
it was hidden the whole time. You know what? I was in so much just shock and awe too. It really kind of sucks because when you get in moments like that, you almost forget what happened. The only thing I can remember is you just talking like a mile an hour or like 1,000 miles an hour, and I'm just like, oh my god, I got to try to get this on film.
Best memory in the woods, man, for sure.